Hey guys, what's up? So I just want to talk about a cool way to learn how to use Revit in kind of an unconventional way, or not a direct way using courses or school. And the idea is to kind of um, use, the real world scenarios or um, content that you see out there as kind of a starting point. And depending on where you're at, um, career wise, and how far you are from the architectural perspective or MEP side, you may not have that much, let's say, uh, ideas when it comes to creating new things. So, something I like to do to approach that problem is, if I can't go and design an entire project from start, because I think really starting a project and doing all the stuff that it needs to do so that you can create renders and floor plans and sheets and create new things that you never have, is by starting projects and just doing them for fun. And if I can't think of something offhand, for example, if I want to create my own house that I'm going to eventually live in, or maybe just to start thinking of ideas, um, maybe I've done that, or maybe I can't think of it. Sometimes I'll pull content or different ideas from other places. So if you're familiar with this is the Rick and Morty house. Just real quick, this is not my content actually. The actual house itself, I linked this in as a coordination model, and I'm just using it to kind of overlay it so that I can trace the outside of it and get the overall kind of concept of it. And then from there, I'm going to model some of the interior stuff and build the needed families. So, for this example, what I did was I looked for a number of pictures, and then happened to fall onto a site that had a SketchUp model. And I figured that would give me a good opportunity to use the coordinations option within Revit. And that'll be in I think it's your insert tab. And you can see here you have the coordination. And this is going to be, I think, either 18 or 19 improvement. But if you press on this, what you can do is you can link in your NWCs. And you have some, you have the path, and then it's just like any other link almost. You can update the positioning and stuff, reload from, cancel this, and if you go to your visibility graphics, I press VV, you get that new tab, coordination models. You have some overrides, it's just transparency. It's okay, and you can turn that off. So like I've created a view, if I cancel out of this, I've created a view called hidden coordination model. That just means I hid it, so I can have both open. And so right now I'm working on the exterior of that building. And one cool thing is like for this example, I haven't created a ton of stacked walls. So this gave me an opportunity to actually try to do that. Excuse me. So I went ahead and kind of created a something to start with so I can get the outline. But the whole idea is, getting you to do, and try different things within the Revit environment. And a good way to do that is just to start with something that already exists. Another project I'd like to show you is it's a kind of a historical architectural project of from Greece. I think it's called. I'm gonna open it up. We'll take a look at the folder structure I have. I'll back out of this, and then here, it's the Temple of Hephaestus. I may be saying that wrong, so sorry about that. But the idea here is I kind of got the motivation by just playing a video game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I was like, oh, these buildings, I like them a lot, so, and I use Revit quite a bit, so it might be a fun project to just start trying to draw some of it. So I've kind of gotten to a huge hole of just trying to find as much information as I can on the different portions of the building and what every area is called, so that when I create families, I can create them correctly. Trying to find 3D models of it, so that I can integrate that into the design, which is ultimately going to help me in industry, because that's pretty common practice to take existing buildings and do an actual scan of them. I haven't happened to find any of that. Another one is to take actual existing floor plans, which I did find a number of those, so sketched floor plans that I can integrate into the model. So I kind of have this broken out into a bunch of shortcuts that take me to different things. At the first bit, I say, Wikipedia dash whatever it is, and then I'll do that on a number of other sites if it's YouTube specific, or if it's a specific site that isn't, some of these bigger ones. I'll either put the site name dash whatever it is, or I'll just give it a generic the title name without the website, if the title itself kind of describes it well enough. So that's one project, Grease, and then I just named it generically that for now, and then I'll compile these projects into a project folder. Just right now they are kind of started there. So this one's the Rick and Morty one is just broken out with the FBX, or actually the SketchUp model that I moved to an FBX, and then I brought into Navisworks. Then I also tried another way using the export out of SketchUp to version 2017, and then brought into Navisworks. Found that worked a little bit better. And then I have my project model. Depending how complex you get it, for example, this Grease one, I have a project folder almost, and then I have the project content, so all the overall files, so the Revit files, SketchUp, and the Navis models, and then I have the project content where I'm going to locate all the families. So that's it really kind of gets you thinking about Revit in a different way, and then getting in there and trying to solve and find different problems. And I think it gives you an overall goal and plan. Sometimes it's hard to just open up Revit and then learn a technique such as walls, but not have an actual plan on what you're going to do with it. Obviously, these tools within the interface is going to be useful in industry, but when you're sitting there trying to learn it and actually apply it to anything, it's a little bit more difficult to actually get that content to stick and for you to remember it. But I find, just doing projects and then referencing that later on, for example, stacked walls in this project, if I work on this and finish it, it's something that I can share with people. So maybe on LinkedIn Learning, but I could also, or on LinkedIn, I could share it on my profile, but I could also reference this and say, I remember I did stacked walls before. I'll take a look at that, and then maybe it'll come back to me a little bit better. And it's just a good way to kind of, especially if you're not touching a wide variety of tools, to just do your own individual projects and try to get, go through them from start to finish, not just architecturally, but maybe touching some of the structural concepts in Revit and also some of the MEP portions of it, and then using a lot of the other tools to ultimately get you something pretty cool out of it. So hopefully this helps you. I think this is a great way to learn the product itself, or the software. I do this on a number of other softwares as well, or programming languages. I just try to identify projects that I could potentially do, and then when I'm learning the basics, which is mostly the boring stuff, it applies a little bit easier to me, because then I can take that information and then try to recreate that in a project I'm doing for fun. And then obviously if there's a project that I'm doing at work, apply that there as well. So hopefully this helps you. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot.